recording. What are we going to talk about?
I made some topics, but I was about to say we don't have a fight corner roll.
We don't?
No, I didn't make that yet.
Alright, we're making one up.
In the moment?
Yeah. Maybe I should have hit record. Dude, we are having a rough time.
Yeah. We're rusty. That's it.
What the hell was that? What are you, a sommelier?
I'm a water pipe.
Alright, so, I know what you guys are thinking. Really exciting news, something that just got announced today. About, honestly, I think he's going to save, well, you know what I'm going to say, right? Like, oh, it's so exciting. I don't even think I can hold it in. We've been talking about it on the show, how much we've been waiting for a blank show. And it's happening. It's like going to happen.
Yeah, We've waited so long. It's gonna be like a full calendar year almost.
And now is when we're gonna see Tua Tagovailoa.
It's time.
Really come to be who he is. Because we've talked about it many times on the show. There's nothing like a Tua show.
Right.
And bro,
they thought Conor McGregor.
No, it's the Tua show.
The Tua show.
Explain what was happening in your body watching Tua go up against Herbert and look better. Look legitimately better.
Undefeated in the NFL, am I
Last
right?
I checked, he's 3-0.
Undefeated. That's pretty impressive.
Throws a tight one.
Yeah.
Throws tight one.
That boy can put it in a window, you know. He can put it in between the numbers.
Super Bowl?
Pound for pound, number one?
Pound for pound, yeah, because he's pretty strong.
I think he should. If Khabib isn't coming back, I think Tua should get a shot at that strap.
So you're saying Khabib should vacate the belt, Conor and Dustin fight, and then the winner fights Tua. Currently undefeated Tua.
In Miami Stadium.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Something just came out of me.
A demon?
No, something. I don't know what it was, but it was.
It rhymed with demon.
Yes, it did.
Oh, forgive us, Lord.
Tua looks amazing. I've never been happier. And I'm a Dolphins fan, so I've never been happy. So I'm not necessarily sure what I would compare it to.
Yeah, I wasn't conscious enough to enjoy any of the Dan Marino era.
Yeah.
So it's like...
I think the only thing I remember from the Dan Marino era, and I don't even know if it was Dan Marino throwing this ball, but it was a pick six against the Jets, where the Jets beat us 24-0. And I only remember this because in I think it was kindergarten or elementary school, there was a Jets fan who like totally made fun of us for having lost to the Jets 24-0. I think that was one of Marino's last games.
Yeah.
That's my memory of
I
Dan
don't
Marino.
remember at all. But you grew up in Miami too,
Yes.
though, right?
So
I was a Dolphins fan in Tampa, Florida my whole life. Well, not even...
You ever ask yourself why?
Yeah, a lot. The 0-16 year.
Did we go 0-16?
No,
Greg Camarillo ruined that by catching that touchdown
Yes.
pass. It was like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. We couldn't even lose.
The final game of the year, right?
Yeah, it was the final
Ravens.
game against the Ravens. Caught a slant and took it to the house. And I remember we celebrated that. Like
By the way, this is a Miami Dolphins podcast now, guys.
We've just made the switch. MMA hasn't been working for us. There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess in comparison, it's kind of cool. But Conor McGregor is back.
Conor McGregor is back.
So.
I guess the UFC won their little battle because UFC said not this year. Conor was like yes this year. The UFC said not this year. And then now it's not this year. But it's close enough.
if you look at it, the reason the UFC was supposedly standing off was because of the fans. And here we are. It's not happening till January in front of no fans.
So both of them won, but the UFC, that should give us an indication that the UFC thought that we were going to have fans by like November, by like now.
Yeah.
They didn't realize there was going to be a literal second COVID.
Yeah.
A second pandemic.
Yeah, it's weird. Because it's like, well, if he was just going to fight on Yas Island anyways, why didn't he just have his season and fight 3 times this whole year?
Then it must have been, it has to have been that the UFC genuinely thought they were going to have fans. Because otherwise, if they knew, if their doctors forecasted to them, bro, you're not going to have fans till what it's looking like now is late 2021.
Yeah.
Then I'm pretty sure they would have tried to have booked them sooner.
It's crazy.
Because we had a lot of these pay-per-views that were kind of top light. You know what I mean? But that indicates to me maybe Dana was, because remember, Dana wants to be first. So he probably had a date in his head that was even sooner than when he thought other people would be doing it. Because other places are already doing fans. Miami lets fans in Dolphins games, so there's no reason Dana couldn't do minimal fans. The fact that he's chosen not to is he's waiting. I think he wants to go from no fans to packed house.
Right.
I don't know if he's going to do a...
Yeah, I don't think it's... Because I think the amount of money they get off the broadcast and whatnot, it doesn't make sense for them to go through all the trouble of hosting half the fans when it's like, all right, now we got to get a venue. When they could just do it at the Apex if they're not going to have fans.
Exactly.
So it's like they don't even have to pay for a venue and stuff. Because I can't imagine it's cheap to get the T-Mobile Arena. You know, so it's like, what are you going to do if you only fill it a third of the way?
And then you have people that probably, in some places, then New York's been very restricted with COVID, so you probably won't even be able to get a venue.
Yeah, the majority of the hubs, are the most restricted areas as of right now. So
California, you're probably not going to be able to do anything. They're probably not going to okay that.
Yeah.
New York, you're probably not going to... Las Vegas is its own freaking country. They can probably get it.
But you see boxing still, they're just doing like the small ESPN, like Top Rank and whatnot. They're all doing the small little UFC style shows right now, but they're allowing like families to come in. They're allowing your family to get tested and the families to come out for the bigger fights on the card, which I think is pretty cool to have like a small fan section. Everybody that gets tested, so you can still have like your small group of loved ones come to the fights, and you still get that atmosphere a little. You get a little bit of that energy in the crowd. But yeah. Either way.
I mean, they just approved, right? Or they just did a study on a vaccine that was very successful, apparently. That was like a 95% efficacy rate. So you're probably going to see something like that come out soon. And then I imagine if that has positive results, they're going to start opening things up by design. They might, although how do you... Because if there's something out there that if you can get vaccinated for something, then there's no reason to close things up because they don't do it for the flu or things that you can get vaccines for. We know COVID's different, but still. So it looks like there's upward movement toward normacy again, but it's like kicking back up again.
Right.
Like it's crazy. We're in Florida, and it's getting a little crazy here. Oh, not here where we are. Where we are is actually, it's not as high a population. It's not a big city, so, we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, social distancing is
easy.
Pretty easy around here.
We can go eat places. It could be full in that it could be all the people that want to eat there that night could be there, and there still be 6 feet of space.
Right.
But if you go to a place in Tampa, in the thick of Tampa, or in Miami, forget about it. There's none. There's no social distancing. I was in Miami over the weekend, and I saw some places that were like that.
Yeah.
And then there's some places that take it really serious, and luckily, one of the places we ate at, Adrian Fish, actually, shout out to them, very well spaced out, similar to the places here. So, I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure Dana White thought he was going to be putting fans in butts and seats sooner.
Yeah, at least at like the kickoff of next year, we thought things were gonna be normal. It's like this can't last a whole entire year, right?
And
but here we are.
It's crazy because Dana was saying, "I just can't wait for 2020 to be over. I just can't wait for 2020 to be over." Somebody has to tell Dana that 2021's not about to start all different.
Right.
It might go into like half of 2021.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be weird, but I think it's a sign like, all right, the big fish are starting to get back out there. You know, if we're starting to get a Conor fight and they're talking about Izzy in March, it's like, okay, cool. Now, and also another thing, I don't know if you saw, I added in the notes, we're getting not only Conor, I believe it's the 16th, is it? Or no, the 19th, I want to say Conor is? Something.
23rd.
23rd. And then the 29th or 30th or whatever, the following weekend, we have Calvin Kattar versus Max Holloway.
I saw that. That's such a good fight.
Back-to-back weekends. We get a Conor and then a Holloway fight.
No, that's like, those are really good fights.
And amazing opponents. Like both of those matchups are going to be...
Is that what weight is that Holloway Kattar fight?
That's at 145. Yeah, right. They're both right there. You know, winner of that could get a title shot.
That's going to be amazing.
It'd be hard for Max to get a title shot, even if he does win impressively. Cause,
they should have gave... I'm still so salty about that. They should have just gave him the... They should have just gave him the victory last time.
Yeah, I mean, close as close gets. It's hard to say.
You're basically saying that the only way a contender can beat a current champion is if they knock him out, and that's BS.
I mean, I wouldn't say it that much. I think it came down to the score system. You know, I think a lot of people's argument was Holloway did enough to win, but it was like, yeah, but Volkanovski just had the takedowns, then control, and, you know, that MMA scoring tends to favor, you know, that direction a lot of times. So it's like...
They gotta do something about that.
Yeah, they need a more efficient point system where things really do have, like, point value, you know, like...
A takedown, I understand a takedown counting for points if you actually take them down.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're punching and kicking, somebody attempts a takedown, and now that person is on their back. That's a takedown.
Right.
That matters because that does impact the fight. But a takedown where a person like quite literally gets up 1 second later should not count. That's not a takedown.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a distraction. You know what I mean? That's like a clinch almost.
Yeah. Well, Holloway dropped Volkanovski early in the fight, but it was like a little flash, like...
I remember.
Like touch it, like, you know, bounce off the ground, basically. So it's like, you know, you could argue that in the eyes of a judge, well, if you're going to judge it from a grappler's game plan or a striker's game plan, taking you down and then finishing you is the goal. So if a grappler can take you down, that's about the same as if a striker can drop you. But can either one of them finish you on the other side of that? Yes, that's a much higher chance.
The thing is, if you take somebody down with a punch, there's a higher likelihood...
They're in a compensated state.
Yeah, there's a higher likelihood that person could be finished with that same punch.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's finished with a takedown. They're finished with what happens if it happens after. But...
Right, and this is where I'm going with that, is... The argument is, though, when it's just like a quick flash knockdown like that, when you see like Israel Adesanya against Kelvin Gastelum, when he got knocked down and like catches his butt on the bottom of the fence, you know, like little flash knockdowns like that, where it's like, yeah, you dropped him, but it's like, was he really in danger right there, or did you catch that guy, you know? And if you've ever been in sparring and really got caught, and maybe, you know, even if it doesn't sit you all the way down, you know, you can feel like, whoa, or in a fight, you know, like, whoa, I was right on the brink there, and it's like, you know that it's a real fine line of what drops you and what doesn't drop you, so it's like, what is getting caught with one shot, how does that win you a whole 25 minutes, you know, and I'm not saying that is your argument or anything.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I think if it's that close, I feel like common sense would say, okay, this is me being a fan. You give it to the challenger, that way you can run the three-peat. You can run the trilogy. Because now there's no justifiable trilogy unless Max goes on some tear, you know, which he's very capable of.
Oh.
He's more than capable of beating the next three guys decisively.
I think Max could very well beat Volkanovski. I think he very well could have in that last fight, depending on how you see it, you know.
Yeah.
Looking through it through a fan's eyes, when I just watched it, I thought Max got robbed. But then going back and watching it from like a judge perspective, it's like, okay, I could see how they say Volkanovski controlled 3 of those rounds in one.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know.
It's crazy, man, but we're excited to see him back. I love watching him fight. He's
and if Ortega beats Volkanovski, that changes things up. Volkanovski and Ortega are getting scheduled to fight now.
What?
So this
Ortega's getting a title shot?
Yes.
When did this happen?
Korean Zombie versus Ortega was #1 contender.
It was?
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Dana said it. Volkanovski's already like openly talking about it.
No, hold on. Brian Ortega's last fight before Korean Zombie
butchered by Holloway
was getting beat up by the champion decisively.
Mm-hmm.
He beats Korean Zombie.
Yep. Decisively. Really mopped the floor with him.
Looked different.
Yeah.
Like good different.
Yeah.
And he's gonna now fight the guy that beat him up.
Right.
I love Brian Ortega getting a shot because I love Brian Ortega. But mathematically, if you would have given me a multiple choice question and given me names, I would not have guessed they would have given him this title shot so soon.
The division was in a weird place because you had Cater here who needs like one more kind of.
Okay.
Max. You have Zabit who kind of needs one more as well.
He needs one more.
And it's like everybody's in this place where they need one more, and then Max
might need two more.
Yeah, because he just doesn't fight regularly enough.
He needs two more.
And then you have Max, who it's like you can't give him and Volkanovski a third one in a row. It's like no. I'm all for seeing that fight again. I can't. I'm sure it happens at some point. That's one that
if Volkanovski stays champion, it has to happen.
I think even if later on down the road when they're both just taking some fun fights, I think we could see that one again. They've just been like splitting hairs in those two matchups. The first one, I think Volkanovski edged him out, but.
What an excellent matchup.
Yeah, such well-rounded guys, really.
Brian Ortega and Volkanovski, man, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is, because Ortega's got like this X factor to him, and he's got some real dangerous tricks up his sleeve, and in his last showing, he looked like he really put it together differently. He has a new camp, and it seems like he's really at that upper echelon, that elite pedigree now.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know Ortega was... Man, I've been so out of the loop, I guess. It hasn't even come up because I follow all these MMA pages. I haven't seen it.
It's not... They don't have a date for it or anything yet.
Okay, so it's unofficial?
No, it's not official. But that's what's next.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we've gone a little too long without talking about Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And Dustin Poirier. This is a rematch from their fight in 2014. From 2014, where Conor finishes Dustin decisively, called Dustin a peahead.
Hillbilly from the back arse of nowhere.
He said he was from the back arse of nowhere.
Probably got a cousin named Cletus.
Yes. He said he was from the back arse of nowhere while sitting next to Daniel Cormier, who's from the exact same place.
And Daniel Cormier was dying laughing.
Because Daniel Cormier could probably crush him like a little bit, like an insect. But at the same time, I think Daniel was like, I don't think he knows that I'm from there.
Yeah.
I don't think Conor would have said that.
And Conor, no, because Conor is just, I don't know. I think Daniel was genuinely
because that was still new. That was Conor new. Like
he was still like on the way.
Remember,
there.
At first people thought Conor was this clown because he's this Irish guy who has the most Irish accent in the world.
Yeah.
He's so clever. His voice is a little high-pitched, and he's a small guy. At that point, he's fighting at 145 pounds. So people are literally looking at him like he's this jolly leprechaun flying around, just saying hilarious things like he's a character out of a movie.
Yeah.
And so people are fascinated with him, laughing at the things he's saying. But then,
on Conor's way up, I was full hype train.
It's amazing.
I was like...
I honestly did not get to experience it.
Yeah.
I was not... Conor didn't get me into... You know what got me back into the UFC? Because I was the person that went in phases. I was a big fan in the Matt Hughes GSP feud era.
Yeah.
Frankie Edgar. I was a big fan of Frankie Edgar. When John Jones was coming up, when he was really coming up, I saw John Jones' first fight. His first UFC fight. When he was coming up, I was hyped. Then, when he was fighting Rampage and them. But what got me back into it for good was Nate Diaz and Conor. It was Nate Diaz beating Conor because I was a little bit of a hater. Because I didn't know much about Conor, right? I just saw that Conor was saying crazy things, outlandish things. And I'm like, okay, this guy's saying crazy things. He's calling himself a god. And I'm like, all right, who the heck is this guy? And then Nate Diaz, who I was familiar with because I remember him from the promos that they did in the UFC Unleashed and things like that, where he looked like he was just such a badass. I'm
just
Nate
looked like
Diaz
a
is gonna
gangster.
fight. And I probably saw a viral video of him talking or something like that, like gangster moments of Nate Diaz. I'm like, all right, I'm definitely watching this fight. Didn't buy it. Definitely streamed it. And I remember screaming in my dorm room with excitement when I saw him choke out Conor. And then I saw the second one, and I was like, damn, what a good fight. And I think I started to earn respect for Conor, like, around then.
Yeah.
Like, because that was a very impressive victory. And then he goes on to do what he does. I kind of fade in and out. And then I get back into it again heavy. I kind of faded. This is the first 4-year run where I've been fully committed because I wasn't a diehard. So I don't even know what that venomous, cocaine-filled heroin experience must have been like for you, watching Conor come up.
When Conor fought Nate, I was like 19. I was in this, I had like just dropped out of college. I was in this, at my buddy's house, like this trailer in the fucking back arse of nowhere. And I had $200 on Conor McGregor.
Oh.
And I was like 19.
That's amazing.
And he lost. And then I went to the gas station. We went to Wawa afterwards, and I got a quesadilla and bought a $5 scratch off out of a vending machine and hit for $500.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah. And I was like, wow, thanks, God.
Thank you. I needed that after losing it.
So I was just like instantly forgiven for sinning.
So
that was beautiful. That was just like an experience of unconditional love.
An experience of mercy and grace.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't get to experience that. The only time I've ever had a sports experience that must be similar to heroin was LeBron in Miami for 4 years. That was crack.
I was a huge LeBron fan like his whole career. So when he went to Miami, I was super hyped because I was also like a huge D-Wade was like my
he's the greatest.
Hometown favorite player, but then LeBron was just like, he was just like the poster boy of the NBA of my like adolescence.
I still call D-Wade the greatest Heat player.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, I still call him the greatest Heat player. Even though LeBron had the greatest 4 years of basketball of his career in Miami, D-Wade is still the greatest Heat player.
LeBron was the supercharger that, won them the race, don't get it wrong, but D-Wade was the engine, D-Wade was the engine of that car.
Without D-Wade, that whole entire thing doesn't happen.
Right.
Does not happen because D-Wade bailed out LeBron and Bosh on many occasions.
And let's not get it twisted. Jack jumped ship from Kobe to go win a title with D-Wade, too, in the past. So that just shows D-Wade's greatness.
Oh, yeah, without
multiple times, people went to go team up with D-Wade and were successful.
Dwayne Wade, because Dwayne Wade was probably a top... First of all, he's, in my opinion, the third best shooting guard of all time. And I would even tie him for second with Kobe. Because what Kobe had... Remember that D-Wade, hold on, I'm going to explain it. Remember, D-Wade's career.
Bro, I love D-Wade.
Hold on.
That literally is not sitting well with me, bro.
Hold on, let me finish it.
Bro, I can't. Bro, I don't want to hit you in your house, bro.
You have to, bro. I stand by it. You have to factor...
You just tied D-Wade with Kobe?
I'll be right back.
I hope you're getting a gun. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm shook. You have the right to bear arms in your own home.
So you know it's not bias. Listen, what I'm about to say is very important. Dwayne Wade experienced what Kobe did not experience till way later in his career, which was debilitating injuries. If Dwayne Wade would never have hurt his hip, would never have hurt his knee. And remember, he had a shoulder injury, I don't know if you remember, against the Houston Rockets the year after the title, where he just completely separated his shoulder. He was out that whole year. That was when we had a terrible 15-win season.
Here's the only thing that
Kobe was a better shooter.
Literally the only thing that needs said. Because they're so similar, except Kobe just had that element where
Kobe had pure jump shot.
He could just take the game over and vomit offense and just make up for everything.
Specifically jump shooting, because D-Wade used to do the same. D-Wade took games over in a way not even LeBron
100%.
And then
D-Wade had magical moments.
D-Wade just as good a closer, in my opinion.
I think...
I don't put him over Kobe. If I'm doing anything, I'm tying them.
Right.
I'm never going to put him over Kobe because Kobe has the rings and Kobe did it longer.
Right. That's the thing. Kobe just had that body of work that was just like so many seasons of just dominance and titles.
There was a 3 or 4 year period where Kobe was the greatest person to ever play basketball, even greater than Jordan.
I think Dwayne Wade could possibly be a better talent. Like, I think Kobe just was the greatest.
Two-way player, I think. Kobe was an amazing defender, but I think D Wade was a great passer. He was a great rebounder. He was a great shot blocker. At his height, actually has the most shots blocked under 6'4". Great defender, and obviously, one of the greatest scorers of all time. Creative scorers as well. I think what really did D Wade in was injuries, and the fact that he had to play a back seat for the majority of his prime.
To LeBron, you think?
Yes. He played he after 2010, when we're talking about a lot of Miami sports. After 2010, after 2010, it's amazing. After 2010, when we lost to Dallas, it was all over the news that LeBron and D Wade officially agreed that it was LeBron's team. So it was his team now. D Wade took a back seat to LeBron.
And Kobe never would have done that.
He never would have done that. But that's because Kobe needs to be the alpha of the team.
And he won more rings.
He won more rings, 100%. That's why. And
his second run of rings, Pau Gasol was his number 2, and D Wade had LeBron as his number 1.
Well, that was trail end. So trail end of. Remember, LeBron was only there 4 years. They went 4 times. They lost twice. The first loss is inexplicable to this day, statistically. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It was just LeBron wetting the bed.
Yeah.
Because LeBron had a game where he scored 8 points in the finals.
Yeah.
The final loss makes a lot of sense. D Wade was already suffering from injuries that he had to go overseas to fix.
Right.
Chris Bosh was also suffering injuries, and LeBron was kind of checked out, already going to go home. And you had the Spurs, who had a Kawhi who wasn't even Kawhi yet.
Right.
He was the 4th best player on that team.
Yeah, that.
So there was a lot going on there. Like Kobe, if I just look at the talents themselves, Kobe had the better shot, and Kobe had a period of time there where no human being could ever do what Kobe did during that time in terms of.
I think Kobe Bryant had a work ethic.
The greatest of all time.
I think if you would have just put hours that they worked in their career, Kobe's would be so much greater that it would be like.
Oh,
okay, that's why he's better than
I think Kobe is the
And
hardest.
It's nothing against D-Wade. Like I said, I had those D-Wade stretchy covers for my textbooks. They were wrapped in D-Wade dunking.
I think you and I had the same one. Oh my gosh, bro, we have a lot of similar childhood. You're a Dolphins fan? That defies logic because they weren't good. They sucked.
Right.
And then the Heat, D-Wade. D-Wade was growing up, I had his shoes. I wanted so bad to be like D-Wade.
I had the D-Wade shoes. Once he went to the weird Asian company.
Yeah, I had the Converse.
Yeah.
Yeah, OG style only.
Yeah, those Converse D-Wades.
I just feel like there's an argument to be had there. If you really think about it, even in terms of just overall, if D-Wade would have had the spotlight and been the sole player, the sole offensive producer, I feel like his numbers would have been. He would have had at least 3 or 4
he had
points
there was
higher.
a couple years where him and LeBron were constantly dueling. I remember as a kid because I was a huge D Wade and LeBron fan, and they were always dueling for who was gonna lead the league in points. And I remember it would literally on a game to game basis they would overtake each other. What's that?
Not while they were on the same team.
No, not while they were on the same team. Before that,
D Wade used to always win those head to heads.
And I think that he had the platform, and he for sure won the head-to-heads. LeBron, I think, was still
from 2005
in his infancy in terms of greatness at that point.
Yeah, 2005 to 2009, it was Dwayne Wade's team.
Yeah.
And nobody else's second best player at any given time was, you had your Jermaine O'Neals thrown in there, you had your Shaqs, but he never had a real Robin.
Right.
Then LeBron comes through. Then you have 4 years where LeBron's the best player, Bosh, a lot of distribution where Wade's not getting all the touches anymore. Then you have post-LeBron era Wade, who now is dealing with all the injuries suffered, specifically his knee, definitely has taken a down step, and then he goes away to another team where he can never find it, and then he comes back, and by then he's too old. So I feel like those 4 years of his prime, if it would have just been like a team like how Harden has the Rockets and it's just him, and maybe he has like a lesser player.
They're about to ship him, bro. He's about to go join the Nets.
He just turned down. Did you see the money he turned down?
No.
They offered him 2 years, $107 million. Yes.
And he said no?
You heard that right. He said no. To 2 years, like that's $50 million plus per year.
No thanks.
I know what you're asking. What does this have to do with MMA? And I'm going to tell you. Actually, Joey's going to tell you.
After this break.
we should add some commercial breaks to this.
Just download commercials from the
What
internet.
else is there to talk about? Conor McGregor's going to come back. Look, I think people, because we were talking about Khabib and, we were talking about Dustin and Conor, and then we were talking about Conor's rise, and then we talked about heroin, and then I talked about the Heat from 2010 to 2014 being equivalent to heroin. I miss it so much.
Yeah.
Although we're coming back to that, baby. Time to hero. We're going to get Giannis. You saw that?
Wow.
We might get Giannis. We'll see. Anyway.
Back to Miami sports. Dana said something interesting this week after the Contender Series, saying that they're planning to be back next summer with Contender. But what he said that was interesting was, he was like, hopefully, because the talent hasn't been circulating as much because a lot of these smaller shows have been suffering due to COVID. And he was saying, maybe we'll have to sign some more of these shows to air on
Fight
Pass. So, not really a huge topic there, but I thought that was just kind of, pretty revealing for Dana to just say on air in one of those little backstage interviews. But
see how he went off on Bob Arum?
Yeah, I didn't
He
hear
just started
that.
cussing him out. Bob Arum said that he lost a lot of money on Terrence Crawford or something like that. He was like, do you know how much money I've lost on Terrence Crawford? I would have had a house. And Dana was basically saying, you're the promoter. It's your job to promote him. It's your job to pay him. Why are you complaining about paying your fighter? And then he just started calling him all sorts of names. It was great. He was so pink.
Yeah.
Dana really knows how to verbally attack someone.
Yeah.
He's really good at that.
Yeah.
Who's the greatest verbal attacker in UFC history? Dana has to be up there, but would Conor McGregor be like the number one? Just somebody who can just attack somebody.
Yeah, I mean, Colby just blindly
Should we do
attacks.
Who's the worst at attacking people? Is that easier? Because
the worst at attacking. Well, then who would that be? Like Sage Northcutt?
Yeah, Ryan Hall.
Yeah.
Remember when Ryan Hall apologized for trash talking?
Yeah.
He was like, I felt like I had to do that to get this fight, but I didn't really like it. He's calling out the Korean Zombie now.
Saw that. That's fun.
Very fun.
Yeah.
They should just grapple the whole time.
Yeah.
Just tap hands and butt scoop.
Yeah, Korean Zombie's a 10th Planet guy.
He doesn't want that smoke.
So that would be weirdness.
He does not want that smoke, though.
Yeah, Ryan Hall.
I think Ryan Hall is going to win a championship doing one move.
Ryan Hall getting in the strap would be crazy. He's 45 still.
Because then people would have what? I thought you said he was 45 years old.
No, 145.
But if he got the strap, people would have to fight him.
That means he'd have to beat Volkanovski though.
Yeah, but he's gonna do this. He's just gonna Imanari roll into Volkanovski. And Volkanovski's legs are not hard to find. He's a small guy.
Yeah.
Big giant legs, a lot of bone, a lot of heel to hook.
Right. Yeah. No, that would make it way easier.
It wouldn't, right? If the legs were bigger, it would make it harder, right?
Yeah, probably, because he could just kind of power through it.
That's not true though. Have you ever tried you have like a chicken wing? When there's more meat on it, the bones are bigger, and so you can break it easier. When it's really small, it's harder. You ever had that happen?
And if there's a lot of sauce, it gets slippery.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to Miami sports.
Back to Miami sports. It's interesting we're talking about Tua now, because there's a guy who had a serious injury to his hip. Speaking of hips, do you think I can hip throw Tua?
you're questioning Tua's takedown defense, wearing 2 Miami jerseys. This is blasphemy. You're gonna question Tua's takedown defense right now?
He does. He does. His job is to avoid getting taken down. So basically, what you're saying is that I am worse at taking somebody down than Aaron Donald.
Yeah, that could we?
Because he took Tua down.
Could somebody pull up a picture of Aaron Donald?
Aaron Donald's like the size of this wall.
Aaron Donald is a specimen.
Yeah, he's literally the width of this wall. If he
His body doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like this guy, DK Metcalf, too. His body doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Think I can hip throw him? Good day?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get back to that later in the show.
Okay.
What do you think about Davidson Figueiredo? The scariest
he is
125 pounder of all time?
Not the greatest at trash talk, but scary.
What do you think about his trash talk?
We might be doing a language barrier thing here, but...
You don't like his just
I didn't
absurd
aggression?
I
didn't dislike it.
His
I just thought it was
blind
funny. That was hilarious. Who was he calling out? Cody? Said something about Cody. Did you see the video? He just pops into frame and just starts talking.
No.
He literally just like pops into frame and then just starts like talking crap. But like, it wasn't well said.
I've only really seen him in like the embeddeds and the countdown and stuff.
Yeah, he's a scary individual, man.
He keeps referring to his opponent Alex Perez as prey and how he has no hope and just how he's a vicious predator and he's going to like murder him and just like very, very aggressive, dominant speech. And just judging by the way he treated Joseph Benavidez in their 2 matchups, you know, I'm real nervous about this one. Alex Perez, I haven't seen a ton of him. I know he came from Contender Series. He's the first Contender Series fighter to fight for a title, so that's pretty cool. Just goes
good name, Alex.
Alex, there you go. Yeah. So that's it. Alex is gonna win.
By hip throw. So let's talk a little bit about. I started that sentence, but I didn't have anything.
Okay. Well, I think Figueiredo. Yeah, I just see a murder on the horizon. I think his right hand, it just comes down the pipe with just absolutely no fat. Just boosh. Like, it's insane. I think that his jiu-jitsu is lethal as well, and Perez is just not ready for it. He's like Cheeto Vera's little brother in the training room, kind of. Cheeto Vera is like, you know, above him in their rooms. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from seeing some of the videos. So it's like, I don't know, this Figueiredo guy is just, he's in a different place, I feel.
Do you believe that fighters or people who try to carry themselves as alphas legitimately, that legitimately benefits them in these type of things?
I think there's some of it to them, and then when you just put a camera on somebody and, you know, prop them all up and you have like this big high profile thing, like, and you're on this countdown show, like, you're not going to just say what you would normally say all the time. What are you going to do? Just have a boring conversation?
Oh, no. I just mean in general, like the people talk about alpha males and beta males. But is it more like a spectrum? Because look at a guy like Nate Diaz. Would you call him an alpha male?
In ways, yeah. He's kind of like you know.
But you wouldn't call him.
He's defensive though all the time. You know, like I don't know. It's weird.
You couldn't call someone like Nate Diaz though a beta male. Because when we think of a beta male, we think of somebody who is
submissive and
who will take offense, take insults, and not stand up for themselves. Mm-hmm. When people throw that term towards people, they're usually talking about somebody who is weak, but my thing is, like, somebody like Nate Diaz is not an alpha male, but he's still a badass. So I don't think it's a duality of there are alpha male characters and then there are beta male characters.
No, I don't think so either. I think there's more layers to it than that. And I think that where I was going with that whole once you're on these countdown shows and whatnot is I think you just see these people kind of turn up the brightness on their character, and I think that like Nate is kind of protected in a way. Guy, I don't know, like just these guys when you put them on camera, they just kind of exaggerate who they already are, kind of in a way.
But forget about the camera, just in general, like just in life.
Like, what do I think that they are like?
Like, what do you think the concept, like people who so like people who desperately want to portray themselves as alphas, they glamorize the notion of being an alpha.
Yeah.
Like they never want to do anything that would be considered beta. One, is that even possible? And two, what are they measuring that by?
I don't know. Like, for me, it's like dominance. Like, but like for me, I want to be dominant in a way of like results. Like, I don't really want to be dominant. Like, and that's how I want to assert myself in fighting, is like with results and like separating myself from my competition and stuff like that. Like, I don't necessarily want to.
Oh, like the alpha in a room is the one who's doing the best.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like, and some of that might not be all the alpha, like the most alpha. I don't know. Like, you see a guy like George St. Pierre, for example, and it's like he kind of asserted himself as the alpha of his division if you look at it in just like a primate 100%, pecking order, 100%. So it's like there's a guy who, has established the alpha presence. It takes longer if you're not like going around puffing your chest out, like Conor McGregor. It was really easy for him to kind of establish himself as an alpha. He didn't have to beat as many guys because he was screaming, "I'm the alpha," basically the whole time. Whereas you have like the more martial artist guys, they have to win more to like earn that like reverence from the people around them. I don't know.
I think results determine that. It's like it's a meritocracy, like in jiu-jitsu. You could say all the things you want. You can be very, assertive in the way you talk to people, but like your performance is what indicates your pecking order in the room. Who you are as an actual jiu-jitsu player is what determines where you are. If you're a white belt, when you're in the gym, you're a white belt. Doesn't matter if you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or if you're homeless. You're a white belt, or if you're a blue belt, vice versa. If you're a blue belt, you're probably not there. If you're a purple belt, you're there less, and then for some reason brown belts and black belts exist, even though all the blue belts quit. I don't know how that happens. But anyway, my thing is like, from a psychological perspective, the notion of being an alpha, I understand what you're saying. You want to be dominant in your field, and you want to separate yourself from the pack of competitors by winning. Like, by just winning. Like, you
by
win,
dominating them.
You win, they lose. You're dominating in this field. Everybody's trying to dominate this field. You're dominating it a better. But like, people who translate that into their life, and they want to take that approach to everything. I mean, that seems to me like that kind of mentality is counterintuitive.
Yeah, it seems very tiring.
Yeah, like why do you always want, like, it's always a kissing contest?
Yeah, to me, life is more of a making sure I'm doing what's right, for me, because it's like I don't have a lot of control over a ton that happens in this world, like I try and do what's right for me and the people around me, so it's like I'm not really in the mindset of like I need to assert myself on this room that I just walked into and establish myself as the alpha here, There
are people who do this.
Yeah.
They think that when they walk into a room, they have to do this.
I think the sad thing is a lot of them, it's like almost unconscious though too. Like it's almost an insecurity in an unconscious way being expressed.
And then they just try to compete with everybody. It's like, that's like, how do people maintain friendships when they have this mentality that they have to be better than you? Like they just have to be better than you. Because really there's no such thing as an alpha. They don't exist because everybody's better than everybody at something.
Right.
Everybody can make another person look stupid and feel small.
Right.
If you and I walked into, I have a friend who I believe, who was at the University of California, I believe, or Cal Berkeley. And he's a scientist. He actually does jiu-jitsu. If I walked into his room and started talking to his friends about what they do, I'd feel like a complete idiot, right?
Right.
I'm sure if like he walks into a room where we're talking about something I'm very proficient in, I can make him feel like an inferior person.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like all these things, these alpha things, these games, it's just a way for people to like deal with the reality of the fact that they're mortal beings with weaknesses.
Yeah.
And they have to create this imaginary world in which they are some sort of legend, that they're some sort of, you know, that they're inhuman in that way. And the reality of our like of our flawedness and of our weakness is something they never actually deal with directly. So then they actually never actually conquer that part of them. So really, the most beta thing a person can do is always try to be an alpha, because they're just ignoring the harder discussion within them, which is, how do I deal with failure and embarrassment?
Right, which goes back to what I was saying, is that I think it's like an unconscious expression of insecurity. You know, I think it loops back around to it's, you know, this thing where you're externalizing what should have been internalized, because it's like, you know, the things that you're saying, it's like, you're like, how could they this, that, and the other? And it's like, I understand it, because in ways I kind of align with the alpha things you're saying. Like you're saying you like the assert yourself, and it's like, yeah, but at the same time, I kind of want to do the same thing like in my field, you know? So it's like I get that in ways, like having desires for those types of things to achieve those things.
Well, you have to.
Right.
You can't be successful in your field without.
Right.
You have to assert yourself.
Right. You can't win half your MMA fights and make a living.
Or you can't just go into it with half a mentality. You'll die.
Right. So
life and death.
Yeah, and the mindset is so huge. So you have to have that mindset of wanting to be the best if you want to, you know.
But do you take that in relationships? Like, do you get into pissing contests with people about subjects unrelated to fighting?
I try not to.
But there's a little part of you that does?
For sure.
Because you're naturally competitive, too.
Yeah.
Because your personality,
yeah.
Like, I don't know if anybody does the Enneagram, but you're a 3.
Yeah.
And you guys are incredibly competitive.
Yeah.
So, like, somebody would be talking about shoes, for example. Are you a shoe head?
No, I'm not.
So you're not a sneaker head?
No,
So you won't?
Because
will you even fake it? Will you be like will you try to go?
You see me, bro. I show up in flip flops every day, because like anything I get into, I get into. You know, so like if I were to get into sneakers, I'd be on there looking for like all the newest drop, the this, the that. You know, like I'd be in it, and it's like, I'm not trying to spend $500 a month on sneakers. Oh my gosh,
it's crazy.
You know, it's like
sneakers are too expensive.
Yeah, I spend $500 a month on training. Like I'm not trying to spend $500 on sneakers. It's like I'll just wear some flip flops. So Amen. I know that I have that to me, like that needing that edge. So I try and just like apply it to my day to day, and like that's why I said that they externalize that. Those people that need that alpha, they need that. They need to project that onto the people around them to try and assert that, you know, project that. But I kind of hold myself to a standard of that, you know, where it's like I want to do everything the best I can, and it's not necessarily like I want to do it better than you. I just want to do it perfect, and if you do it better than me, then I'm gonna be like, hey, how'd you do that? You know, and then I'm going to try and like learn how to do it better. And if I'm not doing it the best in the room, then I'm going to be there learning from the best in the room. You know, like I don't necessarily want to be the alpha, but I just want to be the best. You know, so if I'm not the best, I'm going to be right there like learning from the best. So
yeah, you have that drive.
Yeah.
But that's like a Mamba mentality. You know, taking it back to Kobe, that's like a competitive drive to be the best. I don't know if that's the same thing.
No, it's definitely different. Right. Because it's internalized. You know, it's coming from a sustainable place where I'm not trying to, like, prove that I'm better than you. Right. You know, like, when we spar, we can just spar and have fun and try things out and stuff, because we're not out there trying to knock each other out on the pavement. Like, you don't even have to think about that. You can just try a different combo or something.
It's also if you also have lost. So, like, you would not be able to sustain a confidence in yourself or a sanity if you were so desperately averse to losing. I know you hate losing. Everybody does.
Right.
Who doesn't? But some people deal with losses better. Some people catastrophize their losses as like literally themselves.
Yeah.
Something, a knock on who they are as people. I assume you don't do that. You don't seem like the person that does that. I mean, you do jiu-jitsu. You lose every day. So, like that's that type of. Think of the most unhealthy example of somebody like Colby Covington is playing an alpha character.
Yeah.
In his mind, he's doing. There's people who think and act like Colby Covington. Colby Covington is not a caricature of a person. Colby Covington is a caricature of himself.
Yeah.
But I know people.
We've all gone to school with the Cody Garbrandt.
Yes. These are people who cannot accept. Perfect example. This is a person who could not accept not having the last word or not. You know what I mean? Always. Yeah. And you literally saw it like 3 straight times go poorly for him. And he changes his outlook on it a little bit, at least in the way he fought.
Yeah.
Fought a little more technical, a little more self-confident, a little less angry. But there's a perfect example of somebody who is always trying to be dominant in interactions.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be dominant in your field, but to always try to dominate interactions.
Socially, yeah.
Yeah, people try to do that.
That's the tiring part, is when you bring it into like every room with you, and now it's like there's a pecking order in this room. It's like, no. No, there's not.
Most people aren't even thinking about that.
Right. Like, it's not real. If you're not in a sport or something that is like based off of your performance, like if you're not in a competitive field, there's no room for that. Even in like an artistic space, there's no room for that.
I've never once thought while walking into a room, I need to dominate this room.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just my personality, but I've never once had that thought, because anybody can be dominant in any room if they somehow guide the conversation toward whatever they're dominant at.
Right.
Sure, if you walk into a room of, chess masters and you're talking about fighting, they're going to look at you like you're a unicorn. But you're not going to play chess with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like there's levels to everybody's little niche.
For sure.
But people like that, I feel like, I don't know why I got into this conversation. It just
no, I mean, it
intrigued
a good
me.
Conversation.
It intrigued me because it makes me think a lot of people probably always want to guide conversations to where they're strongest. It's something that in psychology, men, when they feel inadequate, they go to what they know. This is very common in men. So you might find men struggling in their, getting into an argument with your wife, or if a guy, you ever seen a guy is in a group, okay, there's women and guys there, everybody's there, and he's trying to do something, like he's trying. Usually this happens with like a dad with like his wife and like a group of people, and he's trying to like do something technical. Maybe he's trying to like fix his TV, but he keeps botching it. You ever see somebody slowly devolve into madness and shame in front of everyone? You've seen this, right?
Yeah.
They don't take it on the chin, because that feeling of inadequacy, of like not being able to do something, for some reason, like triggers some people, and this happens a lot with men, and oftentimes a way to soothe that is to go to something you're really good at and just feel competent for a second. I mean, oftentimes incompetency makes us feel stupid, but really everybody's incompetent at something.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why the whole thing of guys not asking for directions. I never understood that, because I grew up, we grew up in a time where we had GPS for the majority of our life, but there was a time that we had to print out MapQuest and do that. We didn't know how to
you used to have to pull over at gas stations and ask people like, hey, how do I get on 75 from here?
How do I do this? And traditional masculinity, I would say, would call that like not having a good sense of direction. But really, who the hell has a good sense of direction?
Yeah.
Like in a modern, you know what I mean? Like, we're not in the woods. I remember one time I was actually in the woods and my sense of direction came up, and I'm like, I think the only reason this happened is because I needed to survive. Otherwise I would have died.
Yeah.
I just had to like remember things in the sky as like, okay, that was over here, so this must be here.
I got a pretty good sense of direction in the woods.
In the woods?
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to. Like, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to go to a place where it's like in training, like nobody knows really what their limit is until they reach it and go a little bit beyond it. But like on the regular day, you're never gonna show the strain and effort of 1.5 hours into your workout when you just started it, because it hasn't been pulled out of you.
Right.
But I don't know. I find it interesting. I know fighters, because you're a fighter, and I do jiu-jitsu, but I'm not a fighter. I feel like you always have to present yourself as alphas. And everything you say always has to be invulnerable, without insecurity, completely lacking in weakness and doubt.
Yeah.
But that's not indicative of what you think and feel on a regular basis, unless you've managed to either healthily or unhealthily distract yourself from thinking those thoughts.
No, I'm not like this person that, like, if I have a fearful thought, like, it throws my whole mental space off and stuff. Like, I know that people have crazy thoughts, and, like, I don't know, I've also done, like, a lot of meditation too, so, like, that gets you more in that observer place where you realize, like, oh, we have thoughts, and they aren't just, like, our absolute just manifestation of who we are as a being, you know. So it's like a lot of people, I think, when they have these insecure thoughts pop up or nervous thoughts, it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be thinking about what happens if you step on this trap when you're walking through a dangerous territory, you know, like that's an instinctive thing that you should have walking through enemy territory, you know. And it's like going into a fight, you should be fearful of this or that, you know. When you're walking into a lion's den, you should be creeping in on your toes, you know. So it's like certain fears and whatnot are like it's heightening awareness. And I think that, like John Jones says, when you get the butterflies, a lot of people like shun them away or bottle them up, and he gets them to fly in formation. So I think it, you know, and GSP talks about how scared he gets, and for me it's like, I think that nervousness that people call it, or anxiety, for me it's like heightened awareness. Like I feel like a primal awareness coming upon me, and it's like, okay, this like buzz that I'm getting right now, like this means that it's time. Like this means that like the reason I'm thinking about what happens if I get knocked out is because I might get knocked out right now. So that means that I'm gonna have to dodge these punches before I can even see these punches coming. So like when I watch my fights, it's like, oh dang, I didn't even remember slipping that front kick. That thing would have knocked me out if it hit me. And it's like, yeah, but if I would have been thinking that in that moment, I would have got knocked out by that front kick. Definitely. But I was already scared before that, so I didn't have to experience it because I was in this heightened state because I was scared. You know, but
you don't have time to think. You're just reacting.
Right. You're in that like fight or flight state.
Sometimes it's good to just do something you're very afraid of without thinking about it. Like forcing yourself to put yourself in a position where you have to commit to it.
If you're never scared, you can never be brave. And I'd rather be brave than a bully. You know, if you've never had to be brave, then you're just a bully. So it's like, I would rather be a brave fighter. I want to be a courageous fighter. You know, like I want to have to overcome obstacles. I want to, like my amateur career, I was always fighting dudes like 10 years older than me with experience and stuff. Like I was fighting people that were going to give me a push. I wasn't just trying to fight a bunch of 20-year-olds around here, you know. And it's like, I want to fight guys who have seen different things. And, you know, I think that, yeah, there's something to that. Having to be brave, you have to be scared first.
It's an interaction with fear. If the fear is not there, then you're not really doing anything that requires courage or bravery.
Right.
You're just doing something.
And nobody is immortal, so it's like at that point, if you're never scared, then you're probably just delusional.
Definitely delusional.
So it's like...
The person that says they don't fear anything is a liar.
Right. Or promoting a fight.
I'm not scared of anything, and I have people who say I have no regrets. They're all liars.
Yeah.
Now, it's one thing to say that I wouldn't go back and change it.
Yeah, I wouldn't take anything back.
Because obviously, you know that your life is an accumulation of your...
Right.
But everybody has regrets.
Right.
Like, you've never done anything you've regretted. You've never offended someone. You've never cursed somebody out.
Right.
You've never made a huge fatal mistake. You've never committed an immoral act. Everybody has regrets. People who always want to paint themselves... Like, I hate this fake... People want to portray themselves as these invulnerable characters that don't have any sort of, like, attachment to, like, any self-doubt or any self-consciousness. Like, bro, people who look up to you do. So you're portraying an unrealistic humanity to them, an unrealistic path to greatness. You're basically saying you have to be without weakness to be great. Yeah. I think people who don't do that.
That's a shortcoming of boxing, is they have, like, such great pressure of this. Like, you know, a loss in boxing is, like, so crazy. And it's like in MMA, you know, just recently, who was it? Somebody was just impressing me. Oh, Darren Till and Robert Whittaker. Both of them are like very impressive in defeat. And just how they still maintain their own character in interviews and whatnot, and they don't really get shaken, and they pretty much openly talk about the things they dealt with going through the losses and whatnot. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, because these guys are still huge fan favorites in the sport, and here they are like getting right back to it. And it's like in boxing, I feel like it's a little different. And I just really love that in MMA, where we can see people go through losses and peaks and valleys of their career, and just see them for what they are, peaks and valleys, like
life, like that's how life is. Like,
right.
There's no such thing as being undefeated.
Right.
In life. Nobody's undefeated in life. So having a O on your sports record, that might make you feel like undefeated or invulnerable, but you're not invulnerable. You've been hurt before. You have the capacity to be hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And another person could kill you. I feel like every fighter should think to themselves, somebody could kill me with their bare hands.
Yeah.
Like somebody really could, if there's somebody out there who's better than me at certain things, that if they got me in this position, they could kill me.
Mm-hmm.
They could actually take my life. Or somebody with more of an inner savage who doesn't care, who's lost all, who's lost all will to live, could stab and shoot me or whatever. I could always be humbled like a little child to somebody else. Like, to just realize there's this, like, sports in general, and people can give themselves this grandiose sense of accomplishment, because if you accomplish great things, obviously you're going to think greatly of yourself. But like with fighting in particular, the inability to take losses well. Deontay Wilder is the first person I think of.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
my goodness.
To be a guy so dominant for so long, and to be a guy that everybody calls humble. Which the first time I heard Deontay Wilder talk, I told you this. I'm like, whoever thinks Deontay Wilder is humble is falling for his own marketing. Deontay Wilder is so humble that he'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
When have you ever heard of that? Like, he's so humble, he admits it. Nobody who's humble says they're humble. People who are humble are genuine people that other people then say, wow, this person could talk about all these things, but he doesn't. Deontay Wilder's not that way.
Yeah.
All Deontay Wilder does is talk about himself. And he loses to a guy twice, in my opinion, and he literally can't pick an excuse as to why. He has like 4 different. Didn't he have like 3 different excuses?
Oh my god, no, it's running amok at this point. Something his corner, like he said his own corner poisoned him or something.
Ugh.
Like it started getting crazy. I think he fired like his whole coaching staff, and is now like, I don't know. God bless him.
It's a delusion.
For sure. He got exposed, and he can't accept the fact that Santa isn't real. Like his whole reality, his whole paradigm is like, he's just like trying to say anything to like make it stay, but it's like, it's just not the case. And it's hard, because it's like you see his fight, and it's like, this didn't go to the scorecards or nothing, man. You got beat to the ground by Tyson Fury. Like,
he ate your blood.
Yeah, like how are you gonna give 18 different excuses?
Tyson Fury beat him soundly.
Yeah, you got finished handedly. Like,
you think I could hip throw Deontay Wilder? This is taking very long.
I'm just calculating right here, because I know he has a lot of variables that can affect his performance. So I'm trying, like,
what does that mean?
I'm just, I like Rain Man math going on right now.
Okay. I want to make sure that
I have a lot of questions.
Whatever you say has to be accurate, so I'm going to let you do whatever internal mathematical processes you have to do to get to the right answer.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you do that.
What are you wearing?
Clothes, maybe some jeans.
Jeans.
Tank top.
Jeans and the tank top.
I don't wear tank tops. I don't like tank tops.
Okay.
Fun fact about me, I don't like tank tops. I'll wear a shirt underneath a tank top, but I don't like a tank top by itself. I feel vulnerable.
Really?
I'm not a fan of that. I don't think I should apologize for that.
No.
T-shirt probably, T-shirt maybe.
I don't like tank tops either. Are we beta males?
Dude, we might be. I'm pretty sure tank tops. I don't think beta males wear tank tops.
No way.
That by transitive properties, we're beta males. Answer the question. See this? What I got to deal with? He's trying to run away from the question. Why is it so long? Why does it take you so long to answer this?
Because
I'm thoroughly bothered right now. We've been through this. This is Deontay Wilder. He's not an MMA fighter.
I know, but I'm just thinking like he's athletic, he's long.
I'm not athletic and I'm not long. That's incredible. He says these things to my face. What does he say behind my back? You basically just called me. So essentially, let me get this straight. Let me run down this. So, Deontay Wilder is athletic and long. I'm short, fat,
ugly,
and
smelly,
useless. Okay. So I'm short, fat, useless.
You
ugly.
said it, not me.
You said ugly and smelly.
No.
I wasn't even thinking about ugly.
Oh my god.
I wasn't even thinking about ugly.
Oh
You
my
dropped
God.
ugly and smelly.
No.
Smelly.
Buzz.
You didn't tell me. You didn't
Dude.
tell me I smelled bad.
No, I didn't even say that.
They literally have it on video. They can go back and see that you called me smelly and ugly. Smelly. Like smelly is like a 3rd grade insult.
Yeah. Yeah. You backed me into a corner.
I did it. I've asked you such a simple question. Can I hip throw Deontay Wilder? Do you understand that is a yes or no answer? And you're making it a corner. When did that question necessitate you calling me smelly?
I'm sorry about that.
I don't know what to say. I'm hurt. But, I have to forgive you. You know?
I think we should get a mediator.
Buzz is not gonna. Buzz literally smiles at everything we say. So if you say, Buzz, do you think, hey Buzz, can I hip throw Deontay Wilder? To me, that looks like a confirmation that I can. Okay.
Yeah,
but then if you
it's
say,
like-
hey Buzz, Alex can't hip throw Deontay Wilder, right? That looks like a confirmation of what you said or what you're thinking. Because I know what you're thinking. You don't think I can do it.
Joe looks like he smells bullshit.
On who? He's facing me. Why don't you tell me who I can hip throw? Like, who's the most impressive person in the world that I could hip throw?
Alex Jones.
Let's do fight corner roll. So I'll go first.
Okay.
Tua Tagovailoa, Kyler Murray, or Justin Herbert. Sorry, not Kyler Murray. Joe Burrow. 3 rookies. So we're going 3 rookies. We're going Tua Tagovailoa. We're going Joe Burrow, and we're going Justin Herbert. So the Dolphins rookie quarterback, the Chargers rookie quarterback, and the Bengals rookie quarterback.
All right, I'm fighting Joe Burrow.
Wow.
Money fight. Heisman winner.
Joe Burrow's the money. Okay, yeah, the Heisman. Because if you beat him, you get his Heisman.
National champion, Heisman winner. That's what he's coming off of, you know.
That's
like-
right. Yeah, that's right.
So you,
Because I'd say of the 3, Tua's the more popular, but Tua had the injury. So yeah, Joe Burrow's now the money fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a good point.
and Tua, I gotta be in his corner. You know, obviously, I gotta ride with my dog. So it's like I gotta be on that bandwagon there. I gotta be in that team. You know, helping the cause. I can't be fighting them, or even rolling them. That's just like,
Right.
I don't know. I just wouldn't want to hurt him at that point or anything. Like, what if I tweaked his shoulder or something? What if he just like landed or posted on? You know, like I couldn't hurt him.
Probably keep him as far away from an interaction of fighting as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, if I'm cornering him, I'm kind of like pushing him into battle at that point. But of course, I'm confident in him.
But you could tell him to throw the fight, and then that's it. He loses, but he doesn't get hurt, and we win a Super Bowl.
Right.
So, I just realized you didn't answer earlier if I could hip throw Tua, and I feel I'm like legitimately offended. Tua's Tua's an NFL quarterback. Tua's probably never fought in his life. Tua weighs significantly less than me.
No way. Tua probably weighs like 210?
No way. Tua does not weigh 210 pounds. He's a quarterback.
Yeah. They're like 6'3".
Tua's like 5'4". Tua's short.
Tua's probably 6'1".
No
6'2".
way. If Tua's 6'2", he's 6 foot.
Okay.
You think he weighs 210 pounds?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 190. 195.
Yeah. 190, huh? Who are you rolling with? Justin Herbert?
I'm rolling with Herbert.
All right, so given that, like, in real life, my chances against all three of these, according to Joey, is very slim, that really affects how I do this now. Because now, what used to be a fun game of me imagining myself fighting and beating these people is now me imagining myself losing to them. And if I have to lose to anybody, it's going to be Tua. I'm going to fight Tua because I want Miami Dolphins to be so popular. And so if he beats me, then that just increases his popularity.
You're just going to let him start you?
Apparently, I'm not just going to let him. Apparently, he's just going to do it. I can't even hip throw a person that's never fought. I mean, what am I going to do against him if I can't even hip throw him? I mean, you said it yourself. So, I mean, apparently, I'm not going to let him do anything. He's just going to go in there and beat me up. And then I'm going to roll with Joe Burrow because it is a money fight, but maybe we can make some money in jiu-jitsu. And, you know, I guess definitely pulling guard. Not gonna probably not gonna be able to hip throw a Joe Burrow. You know, and then that puts me cornering Justin Herbert. He just cut his hair.
Did he?
Yeah, he looks. I don't want to. I feel bad. He doesn't look great. He doesn't look as good as he did.
Right.
He went from like statuesque, you know.
Yeah, the Cali kid.
Now he looks like an 8th grader now.
Really?
Yeah, he don't look hot. Like by hot, I don't mean sexual. I mean he doesn't look hot. Like you don't look too hot, kid. You know, check your pulse or check your temperature.
Oh.
That's something Gruden would say. Hey kid, you don't look too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they throw him
when you're like genuinely just having a bad day, he'll just come out to you and make it absolutely worse. Yeah. Like, hey, look like shit, kid.
Tampa 2. Well, this was terrible.
Yeah.
A lot. I just learned a lot about myself today.
Yeah, well, this was hard to get through. I felt like a lot of tension. I feel like we should maybe go to some sort of group therapy. Some sort of... Do they have like...
I just want to know why you called me smelly. I'm honestly still thinking about that.
I think that was a projection.
Do I stink? Oh, you're saying I stink at takedowns. Oh. So then that makes me smelly in real life.
Wow.
Please say that's what it was, because I really take pride in not smelling bad, dude. I got lots of soaps. So many soaps. And I scrub the hell out of my arms. For some reason, a lot of people don't focus on the arms. When you take a shower, how hard do you go on the arms? You probably just do it once, and then you're focusing everywhere else, right?
No, I remember having a realization a long time ago, like, dang, I just, like, skimp out on my arms, and I remember having this realization, I think it was around middle school, like, damn, people be sleeping on their arms.
Arms are dirty.
Yeah.
But not mine.
No,
mine aren't freaking dirty. Mine, I go in on these arms.
Yeah.
And everywhere else. I don't
clean
ignore.
Your armpits?
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't ignore.
I clean mine too.
Yeah. I don't the back of your knees, but you haven't paid attention to the back of your knees in a minute. And I'm the smelly one. Anyway, we'll see if we can get Joey to answer the question straight next week on who I can hip throw, because we still have yet to. He said Alex Jones, and I think who did you say last week? Did you say Rosie O'Donnell? You said something ridiculous, and it's just like
Joe Biden.
I mean, do you hear that? I mean, this is supposed to be two guys, just camaraderie, but there's these insults.
That's the most powerful on the planet.
Not yet, apparently. So next week, after Trump wins the recount, we'll talk more about
right, once.
L'Chaim.